First of all, good evening. Hope all of you are doing well. One of the things that I guess I would say right away is I realize that not everybody here may have participated in an extracurricular activity. Some of you did. Extracurricular activities, of course, are a vital part of any school district. One of our district's missions, as you know, or goals, is to be the destination district. In the athletic world or extracurricular world, one of the things we talk about all the time is something called curb appeal. We tend to be the doorway of where everybody comes to when they come from out of town and when they visit because they're coming to watch their other kids play. In the extracurricular world, you do have parents and students who will do what we call shop schools and shop school districts, not only for academics, but for athletics. And one of the things that they consider is looking at your programs and success, and then the other thing, of course, they consider is what they look like compared to other school districts. So when we mention curb appeal, we kind of talk about in athletics that you have an it factor, meaning once somebody's been to your facility, they remember it because it stood out and it was that nice that it just made an impression on you. The other thing, of course, is that extracurricular activities are education-based and they do support the overall mission of a school and a community. 45 to 60% of students at both Lakeside Middle School and the high school are in some type of extracurricular activities. Currently, we have 4A facilities from the last bond, with the exception, of course, of our wonderful stadium, the Little Elm Athletic Complex. We will soon be 6A, probably in 2 more realignments, looking at the enrollment projections that we saw from last week. The only facilities that have been upgraded, this is my 6th year here, on the last package was Lakeside Middle School. We did a few upgrades to their lockers, and then we did their weight room. At the high school, the baseball and softball fields, infields, and outfield for softball were touched, and they'll be getting a batting cage upgrade. Beyond that, no other facilities have really been touched in terms of upgrading overall facilities. One of the things that extracurricular activities does, if you'll think back to some of your most fun memories from high school and or middle school, may be that you went to an activity and you enjoyed something with your friends that had to do with a school contest or some type of event. I put on here the NFHS case for high school activities because you can go to nfhs.org and look up this report. This has been an ongoing report for over 10 years where they do nothing but study extracurricular activities and the effects that they have on students and student body and school community. All of the things that I have listed there, students that are involved in extracurricular activities have higher test scores, higher GPAs, higher attendance rates, better health, higher SAT and ACT scores overall, a sense of belonging, build better friendships, and of course, become leaders in their communities. They also have great communication skills because of the things they've been put through. Also, the other factor, our school district facilities are used all the time by the town, by those kids that are 6th grade and below that are in the LISA leagues and the other leagues. Our facilities are rented all the time. Okay, we did a couple of charts for you so you can kind of see. What we did was just compare our Little Elm current facilities to what most 6As have. One of the biggest current trends up here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex is an indoor multi-purpose facility, which we'll kind of cover a little bit later. If you look at football and soccer practice fields, we have 2 at the high school. The majority of other high schools have anywhere from 3 to 4 practice fields right on their high school campus. Gymnasium/basketball courts. That 2-3 means we have 2 gymnasiums. We could have the ability, if we go cross-court in the large gym, to have 3 basketball courts. Other high schools have anywhere from 3 to 6. When I came from Alvin, when they're 5A, they're 6A now, we had 5. Okay, so we had 5 gymnasiums to share. Weight rooms, we have 1 weight room. We have added all the weights that we can. We are at capacity. We can only fit 90 kids in there, and that is pretty much 4 per station, working extremely fast. At most 6As, they have 2 weight rooms at least. Baseball and softball, currently we have limited seating. You've seen some of these that will have a wraparound, and I'll show you some pictures. The baseball little concession stand area does not even have water. That was donated at some point, I guess, by Boosters, so there's no water in that facility. Up the hill is the restroom, so anybody that's elderly has to walk all the way down the hill to baseball and all the way back up the hill to use the restroom. So a common shared concession down in that lower platform area would be extremely nice. Locker and storage facilities. At the high school, we're near max capacity, and we could use, of course, larger locker rooms and more storage. On 6As, when we say larger locker room design can be done a lot of ways. You can do U's and jut outs, or you can do what's called an open concept. If you do an open concept where the lockers are around the edge of the wall, you now can also use that space as meeting space, and you'll see that a lot in your larger football locker rooms and things like that. Meeting rooms, we currently do not have any meeting rooms. There's one meeting room that most of you know about in the high school, and that's the lecture hall, and man, that room is used 24/7. Most schools do have one in their athletic area that's either large or some type of multi-use room. When we talk about laundry facilities, our coaches do wash clothes at both levels. They wash all of the uniforms and all of the clothes. We have 3 washers and 3 dryers, no student access. What I mean by that is the latest designs are to have small frontal lockers and the coaching area and the laundry facility back behind, so that as you're working and you're taking them out, you can put them straight into a locker. It's called a bypass locker, and the kids come up and they pick those up. And you got to understand, in football alone, at high school and middle school, they have over 200 in the program. So imagine trying to get the laundry done for 200 with 3 and 3. All the machines are over 10 years old, and they break down yearly. All right, on our high school facilities, we'd love to have wraparound seating. I kind of said that, and this is kind of just a repeat of what we covered. Expansion of our locker rooms, more courts. Coming down the road, the practice field at the high school, which I'll show you a picture of. Turf's going to have to be replaced. The track that's 4 lanes will have to be resurfaced. And then our existing weight room floor, I'll show you that. So that's just kind of a restatement in list form of everything that we have there, or what we need, that I covered in that chart. All right, this is a current picture of Little Elm High School's outdoor activities. This is the grass field that maintenance did for us recently 2 years ago. And of course, this is the turf field with a 4-lane track around it. This is our softball field, and this is our baseball field. Okay, of course, here's our tennis courts that we're mentioning that need resurfacing coming up. I just did a close-up just to kind of show you. This is our one bleacher here, our one bleacher here. We have a small bleacher for softball, and the press box is offset. Here's that concession building. Nobody can sit there. We have limited seating here and limited seating at that point there. This is the reason I got this picture is this is Rockwall Heath. Rockwall Heath just passed bonds a year or 2 ago, and those are AstroTurf fields. That's Mr. Reeves' brother over there is the athletic director. But the key thing here is one of the newest trends, and it's amazing what people are doing. These are shade covers over the wraparound seating. You don't see that all the time, but that's one of the newer trends that's coming in to facilities. And that field is a full AstroTurf field. So it's not natural grass. This is Prosper's facility, so you can kind of see, I'm just showing you some pictures. This is what I mean by a little wraparound bleacher, and then you got an elevated press box. If y'all have all been to a major league game, or even the minor leagues over here, you know what I mean by a little bit of elevated seating and how nice it is. Here is their shared concession space back here in this building. So it's one shared space. This is another field that's an example of a wraparound seating that's just done a little bit nicer effect. This is kind of, when we had to rebuild in Galveston to the flood elevations, that's what we did. We had to build the seating up, and you look down into the field. We were 13-foot elevation above the field. So it's just some nice things for there. This is an example of, I mentioned a competition gym. The current gym is built to 4A standards. We have a lot of security issues. I know not everybody's come to contests, but we literally only have between the bench and a walkway and where the bleachers come out maybe 3 feet. Most new gyms or everybody is doing at least 8 feet for security or more, and some are even building what I call a sunken gymnasium. There are very few people that are building these like Prosper did. They evidently had a lot of money. This is more like a junior college coliseum, but there are some other small ones that I'll show you in a minute. Even Glenrose has one, and you'll be surprised and amazed at what some of them are building. This is Anna's new gymnasium up at Anna ISD, which is a smaller classification than we are. And then here's another close-up of it. That's an example of a little bit of a sunken floor where this white area is, that's just a wall, and then there's your walkway. So that's about 4 feet, I guess, down, 4 feet, 5 feet down. Gives you crowd separation and total safety. The McKinney schools have the same thing, but they have something called reverse fold bleachers. Those are not. This is our current high school weight room. One of the reasons I picked this picture is to show this right here. One of the things that we've been requesting is to replace this weight room floor. This is the old style floor that's made out of puzzle piece. It is porous. We don't like porous floors anymore because of dirt and staph infection and smell. We've already, when we upgraded the middle school floor, went with a non-porous floor that can be cleaned and is much better and does not move when you try to move things over it like these large weights. So that's our one weight room at the high school. Coach Brown's going to go over the multi-purpose facility with you.
Good evening. Just wanted to share with the committee here, talk a little about the multi-purpose facilities. One of the things that I found in my research is multi-purpose facilities. In the DFW Metroplex alone, there are 62 current indoor facilities in Dallas-Fort Worth. There are another, the last deal I saw was 6 currently being built at the current time. I know Louisville just passed a bond recently, and they will be adding indoors to all of theirs as well. Real quick, the multi-purpose, we really want to say multi-purpose, and the reason why we feel it's important to talk about a multi-purpose facility, because right now our fine arts, our athletics, cheer, band, all of those groups are included in this particular multi-purpose plan. And the biggest deal we're having right now at the high school level is a lot of our outside groups don't have anywhere to go when it's bad weather. For example, we played a playoff game this past fall, this past season, and it was raining 2 days in a row. So it was Monday, bad weather, Tuesday, bad weather. What are we going to do? Well, we had to call our enemy, Prosper High School, and Prosper said, okay, coach, once we finish at 6 o'clock, you guys are free to come over. So at 6 o'clock, we load up 3 buses to go over to the high school to practice so we can get practice in. Well, the next day, the weather was bad again. So I had to eat some crow and call him again. Coach, can we come back over and use the facility? Sure, no problem. And I shared that with you just to say we really shouldn't have to do that with our kids to go and bus somewhere else to do that. And just several weeks ago, I was walking through our athletic wing. It was bad weather. Baseball was in there hitting baseball. Softball was trying to practice. We had soccer, girls and boys trying to practice, and everybody was in 2 gyms. And we had baseballs being trying to hit on the floor, things going on. It was just, I had to get out of there. So it was, but our coaches and our sports are trying to be successful. There was nowhere to go because of the outside element. So it's very important with that. And you look at our band, if you look at our band, even those guys, they work just as hard as we do. And I have a lot of respect for what they do, but when it's bad weather days, I mean, it's just nowhere to go. It's nowhere to go. So I think that's important when you look at a place for our kids to be able to go when it's inclement weather for that. So no loss of practice time. Cold, heat, it doesn't really matter, and it can ease our locker room issues. Dr. Strike and Mr. Roberts and Coach Howell, we all went to visit this past year. We went to go look at a couple indoor facilities. The HEB facility, we'll show pictures of that, was the ideal facility that all of the districts are going to. And in this particular indoor facility, it has an 80-yard indoor facility. It has a weight room. It has all of the outside sports have locker room space in that facility. And they also have storage. And they also have their own individual locker rooms. Right now, if you look at our girls' side, in our one big locker room that they have, you have basketball, you have softball. Every sport on the girls' side is in one locker room. They don't have anything that's really theirs. And that's a lot of way on our boys' side. We've got baseball, track, golf, all those individuals in the same locker room. But we're doing what we have with what we have. But that's what a multi-purpose or the right multi-purpose facility would do for us. It would provide us an opportunity to have all of our outside sports to be housed there. And what we would like to do with that is include some renovations to our inside locker rooms as well. So you see that, and that's kind of what we just talked about with our locker room issues. Also, coming up in this next realignment, we want to add wrestling. We want to add that sport. To do that, you got to have a facility. If we were to add that today, more than likely we either be going in the cafeteria trying to practice, or we'll be going over to an elementary school to go to a gym. We have no space. Another thing we don't have space for is we don't have space to store mats at our current place. If you come and if we do use mats, they're out there in the hallway. Kids are walking through, and you've got those mats there. So we're struggling right now for space and storage. The use of a second weight room, very, very important. Football numbers right now in our 7th grade athletics, we're about 140 kids. There's about 75 kids in soccer. There's about another 30, 40 in basketball. We also have softball, who has about 30. We're encouraging all of our sports to lift. We have a hard time trying to make it all work, but we are. But most places have two weight rooms there. So that's the deal with the multi-purpose. It serves a lot of needs. Even our younger kids, our Lisa leagues, it's going to give them an opportunity to use that facility. There's a lot of things we can do. Our elementary kids, if there's an event where they want to get outside the weather and host an event, they're free to do it. So the multi-purpose deal will help us athletically, but it'll also help the town of Little Elm as well.
Huckabee helped provide these. These are the latest. Arlington passed a bond, and they have put a multi-purpose facility at each of their high schools now. So these are just some of the photos.
Now, she's doing that. This is the facility that the Arlington schools that have in place now. Those are finally, most of the schools are getting in those as we speak. So they're all those are the same in all the Arlington schools. But it's spacious. There's lots of room. You see plenty of walkway. You see plenty of place for things of that nature. I know we got some other photos there. Those fans that kind of keep most of those places. You see they get those fans that they use, and that's what used to help kind of bring in insulation and air in those places.
They don't typically always fully air condition these facilities because of the cost. So that's what these big fans are for. Ever? You're saying ever? Yeah.
There's a weight room. You see the weight room is adjacent right there to the multi-purpose room. You could be lifting weights, so you can transition right into the indoor facility there.
That's just a
Again, with the multi-purpose, again, with this model here, every sport can have a meeting room. They can meet. We can have we need meeting rooms, as Ms. Howell mentioned. Right now, when we want to have a team meeting, we're fighting to find a space because a lot of times that lecture hall is the one place that can hold a group as ours. And a lot of times the needs of academics takes priority over that as well.
Okay. All right. We're gonna, I'm gonna show you some other pictures here at the end, but I'm gonna move on to the middle school. Right now, in the middle school locker rooms, we did add lockers on the boys' side. We could not add them on the girls' side due to cost. The girls' locker room is the smallest. Currently, they have the one grass field out back, Old Marion Field is what we call it. That did have to be resodded 2 years ago. It's okay, but because of the use, we'd love to see that field and the other grass field at the high school be turfed, just because of the amount of use that is on those fields, not only by our schools, but by the community. Gymnasium and basketball courts, y'all know that we've got two there. They do not really have the ability. They can go across in the competition gym. They don't typically, but they can, so we're okay there. Their weight room, even though it's new, the 114 number is if they went 4 per station. In their weight room, it's long and narrow. They really can't do that, so they're closer to that 84 number. And again, the middle school has about the same number of athletes, if not more, than the high school does. And so we're trying to serve them in one facility. They don't have any place to really meet. That 9 times out of 10, they shut down the gym and they're having to meet in the gymnasium no matter how loud it is. Same way with laundry facilities. They have the same number of children we do, and look, they only have 2 and 2. So we could look for upgraded facilities there. The only other thing I listed on here, tennis courts will need to be resurfaced, and the coaches' offices could be upgraded as well. But the locker rooms on the girls' side do need to be upgraded. This is a picture of Marion Field and that track. That track surface is completely shot. You can't tell it from the picture, but it is bald in areas and needs to be replaced. It's been on the 5-year plan for quite a while, but due to the cost, it keeps getting moved down. So that's one of the things that we need to have redone, and then hopefully turf this field. The other thing we're going to have to look at as a committee is, if we go to build a new middle school, now what? Do you leave your old facilities looking bad? Or do we renovate the old facilities so that we don't have any, what I call north-south, east-west going on between our community? So we'll have to look at matching our facilities when and if that comes. This is a picture of the middle school weight room, long and narrow, and you can see that floor that I'm talking about. That is a Mondo product on that floor. It does not move, and it's non-porous. So that's just an example there. This is 1/2 of the girls' locker room. Remember, this used to be the high school. The other thing is this bench is so high, if I'm a girl, I can't even get to that top locker. They have to step up on there to even get to their locker. We reviewed going to 3 openings. It costs just as much to try to convert the door openings as it does to put new lockers in the facility. So that is that. I'll move on to Little Elm Athletic Complex real quick. I didn't put a picture of the scoreboard up here. I can tell you that video board just got dinged with the last hailstorm. It's working. All the parts are now over 10 years old. All the technology is over 10 years old. None of the video equipment that is in there, we really don't even use it anymore because everything has gone to online platforms. We don't use mini DV. We don't use VHS. All of that is out. So all of those things will eventually have to be upgraded. The surface on the track will need to be redone. By the way, that is the best track I have ever seen last this long. I believe it's a Bynum track, and they did a great job, but it's time for it to be resurfaced as well. The turf was replaced about 3 years ago, maybe 4 now. It does not have a warranty. That was back when Little Elm had to had to rip 80 employees when school finance tanked, and they chose not to buy the warranty because they couldn't justify that over FTEs, which I totally understand. So 4 or 5 years, that'll have to be replaced. The other request we get, of course, from parents and our boosters is to put air conditioners in the concession stands because it is so hot. And Jason has worked in those, and I can attest that we've had a few ambulance runs for people where they've had to go sit in the AC.
Anybody wants to go lose weight? September and October, and I guarantee you, you will lose 5 to 10 pounds, no problem.
I know that there's no way of dumping food. There's no garbage disposal.
Here's the picture of the layout. You'll see down here in this area, this is the area I'm getting ready to refer to. This is a discus ring, that's a shot ring. This is a shot ring, and this is a discus ring. We have been called by UIL to host actually the 3A or 4A regional track meet. We have not done it We host enough of our own track meets currently, but one of the things we deal with is the drainage down here, and it's just not very good. So we want to upgrade at a minimum our shot areas. So this is a picture of the University of Texas at Arlington, where they're going to go compete this Saturday in regionals. This basically is like turfus or caliche, basically is what I would tell you, kind of like a baseball warning track. And it's curved, so that's what we would love to do with our shot put areas to help us so that we don't have to cancel any of our events or our meets from that side of it. Let's see, how do I get out here?
Real quickly, Coach Al is doing that. Our numbers, 7th grade, 8th grade, 7th grade girls, we've made those go up a little bit. They're at about 120. Next year, the anticipated numbers for 7th grade girls, the last numbers were about 150. We don't have the locker room space for that. But we've got to continue to grow our numbers if we want to improve athletically and be prepared for 6A. So we've instructed our coaches, whatever we got to do. If we got to put 2 in the locker, let's do whatever we have. But we've outgrown our facilities there. Same way with our boys. Our boys' numbers, we're looking at about 150 7th grade boys. Right now it's about 120. That was 100. So you see numbers are increasing each and every year. We are growing. So all of that is to help with that.
This is the picture of the new gymnasium they built at Glen Rose. Just to show you, and Glen Rose is actually a smaller district than we are. So that's an example of another gymnasium that's been built. That, of course, is the Berry Center in Houston, which is a 9,000 to 13,000 seat facility. We won't build something like that here, unless we just came into a windfall. But those are just some pictures so that you can see what some of the other school districts are building. And that's that Glen Rose facility. I just wanted to show you what a big-time competition gym looks like. That's all I need to show you on that one. On this one, there's some more samples of indoor facilities, just so you can kind of see some things that have been built. That's up at McKinney Boyd, that particular facility. And that is at Paris, right up north, about an hour 15 minutes from us. So that is Paris's new facility. And of course, there's Prosper's facilities on their indoor. We're gonna skip University. And this is Grand Prairie's. Grand Prairie's is one of the older ones that's been built. Back there where those windows are, that is their weight room that you see in this little small caveat. And of course, there's the external of that building, just to show you guys some of the facilities that have been built. Eagle Pride is a brand new one. That's down at Barbers Hill, down south of Houston. I should say to the east of Houston. And then here's Lovejoy's. Lovejoy's, if you'll look right here in this photo, that's an example of a wrestling room. So you can see what a wrestling room looks like. It's fully padded. Pads on the wall, pads on the floor.
Coach Al, real quick. Guys, the drop-down nets. Drop-down nets allows for softball, baseball, different teams to come in, and now they can conduct practices in a safe manner.
Y'all have any questions for us?